By the Fat of Unborn Leopards. I thought of the original title as being The Scourging of Poor Little Maggie. The book starts off with the police being called to Frake Hall, as in Maggie Frake, the heroine, Frake Hall, the stately home of the Frake family. Spearpoint, the butler, shows them to the cellar. For some unknown reason, they all collapse in paroxysms of laughter. It is not the body of Maggie Frake hanging from a beam which excites such merriment, or the sight of an eccentric Frenchman who is whimpering on the floor beneath her in shock. He was her boyfriend. What makes the police laugh is other objects in the cellar, which it is left for the reader to find out. The police give the Frenchman up for psychiatric examination, and as well as singing the Marseillaise at the top of his voice in the police van, he gradually begins to relate the horrific and at the same time humorous stories that culminate in Maggie Frake's suicide. Hold on a minute, folks. When the wretched Frenchman is in the police van, the two officers on either side of the Frenchman in the police van held his head still, and the expression of his misery varied dramatically from the physical to the verbal. He suddenly embarked on a tirade, astonishing the van load of police officers with his perfect command of English. His accent was tainted with a musical and not unattractive French lilt. "You English are cruel," he bellowed. "You were cruel to the burghers of Calais, whom you stripped of their dignity and dragged before your king with nooses round their necks. It was only because the English queen threw herself at the feet of her husband, King Edward III, that he relaxed his cruelty and released the burghers. And you burnt Joan of Arc," the Frenchman added as an afterthought. Massey, a particularly unpleasant policeman, was sitting in the passenger seat of the van, and he turned his head to jibe at a party who could not hit back. "Of that I am well aware, my dear little fellow. I remember having the pleasure of lighting the first match personally." The Frenchman was undeterred. The only part of him that was free was his tongue, which even in his insanity he saw fit to put to its maximum use. Just before he had a chance to speak, P.C. Proby, another police officer, tried unsuccessfully to calm him down with the following tactless words: It's not your fault that you are typical of your fellow countrymen in that you are abnormally excitable and hysterical. But you must calm down for the sake of your own safety. Thank God we haven't had to haul in any other French prisoners. Shut your hole, Povey, shouted Massey. The Frenchman continued his tirade. You English bastards, throughout our tragic and pitiful history, you've invaded our beautiful country and murdered our sons and raped our daughters. Your vile hero, Wolfe, and his men seized Quebec in 1759 like degenerate hooligans and reprobate barbarians. In 1815, you and the army of Blücher crucified our glorious Bonaparte, God rest his fearless soul. You turned the battlefield of Waterloo into a depraved bordello, where your filthy hero Wellington acted as a syphilis-ridden pimp. Now let's hold on. Won't be long, folks. New paragraph. The Frenchman has a phobia about his ridiculous name, which is Jean-Jacques Digue du Cul, which means Jean-Jacques Edge of the Arsehole. Throughout her short life, and despite the affluence of her parents, her father is a wealthy newspaper proprietor. Maggie is bullied and cast out by her invertedly snobbish schoolfellows and is robbed of Simon, her first love, who suffers a premature death. Maggie's trauma is such that her mother engages the world-famous psychiatrist Dr. Frederick Festenstein to treat her. She and Festenstein fall in love, and later they live together in 82 Harley Street. Dr. Festenstein is everything to Maggie, but he holds a dark secret, namely that he says he can inject his depressed patients with the fat of unborn leopards and thereby cure them of their depression. He comes to a very bad end, as does Maggie after being gang raped on an underground train. This book has the following rather good review, I think. In inverted commas, could this ribald, grisly humoured story about a British conservative newspaper magnate's daughter possibly be autobiographical in places by any chance? And the writer of the review is called Peggy Lou Kadinsky of the Washington Globe. Do enjoy your read.